He is number one for me.
Oh,
I think that this is an every down player. I think that he is scheme specific because you really can only use him as a 3 tech and a 4-3 scheme. But
yes.
he is problematic because he's so low to the ground. He is so powerful and strong, and he's also quick. Like I
Yeah.
think that bundling of things just makes him so hard to keep up with because he's so low to the ground. And he is one of those guys that plays with such low leverage that offensive linemen cannot get underneath him. I understand where you're coming from with him, that it does get difficult to be excited about a guy who is as short as he is, because sometimes when you've got these smaller players, it doesn't necessarily pan out. I don't think he's as quick or as explosive as a pass rusher as Kalijah Cansey was, but I just think he is far more well-rounded, and I have less length concerns than I did for Kalijah Cansey. So
Yes,
I'm in on
he's
Jer'Zhan
definitely
Newton.
bigger than Kalijah Cansey. There's no doubt
Yes,
about that.
I'm very in on Jer'Zhan Newton. I think he can be an every down starter. I think he can be just a really, really good 3 tech in the NFL and go. I would take him in the back end of the first round right now. I absolutely would do it.
Second round player to me. I would take him firmly in the
Okay.
second round, and I would be completely okay with him. Again, I like the football player. I just don't tend to value guys where I think they're a little bit role and scheme specific. Like that's just kind of where I am with it.
So we've each shared our 1 and our 3.
I have no idea who your 2 is. I have no idea because I know it's
All
not
right,
going to be the same
I'll
as
give it.
mine. There's no way.
I'll give it. My number 2 is Keith Randolph from Illinois.
Yeah, we did it. We're the same
We
guy.
did it again.
Nice.
Here's quick thoughts on
Yes.
Keith Randolph. I don't know why, but I knew that was coming. Big, massive guy, massive frame, but he doesn't just play like a big bodied space eater. Like
He
you
can
kind of would
move,
expect
man.
that.
He can
Yeah,
move.
he can move. And I have confidence that he can play multiple roles on a 3-4 or a 4-3 front. He's not somebody who I feel is pigeonholed to a specific scheme or role on either of those schemes. For me, though, what's great is just his acceleration. I think he accelerates so well. And his length, he's not like an overtly powerful guy. He's not like an overwhelmingly strong player like a Keanu Benton. He is somebody who's just so much longer than everybody that it is hard to get inside on him, and it's hard to drive him off the ball. I love what he does. And the last piece here, I think that he tracks the football down better than any of these guys. Maybe Jer'Zhan Newton a little bit better than him, but
Yeah.
he navigates traffic well. He plays down the line of scrimmage well. He knows how to just take advantage of, like, let's see where everyone's flowing. Let's see where the football's flowing. And then I'm going to make a play on the football at the line of scrimmage. Dude's a playmaker. He's disruptive. There aren't a lot of disruptive guys in this ranking. He and Jer'Zhan Newton are the 2 disruptive guys. And I would take him pretty early on in the second round.
Man, I thought this was going to be a hot take for me having Keith Randolph this high. I mean, you knew I was a Keith Randolph guy though, so like
he's just so steady. It's hard not to put him here. He's like
Yeah.
the most well-rounded, steady, consistent guy.
I have another comp, Joe. This is my comp for him. He reminds me a lot of Akeem Hicks, a whole lot of Akeem Hicks.
I like that.
The reason that I love Keith so much, and we have verified on him 6'3 and a quarter, so over 6'3", only 297 pounds in the spring, which I thought was kind of interesting because he looked packed to me, man. Like if you would have told me he was 310, 315, I'd be like, yeah, it looks like it. Like, but I think the key things that you hit on, Joe, long as heck. And he has a great ability of gaining extension in the run game, and you just can't get in on his body. Like you just can't get in on him. And he can anchor. And I think that he can really play outside of his frame, which is fantastic. This is the most versatile player on this list, in my opinion. Like, I think Root can do a lot of things as well, but I have literally seen them put Keith Randolph as like a 6 or 7 tech, like head up on tight ends at sometimes in the 6, and just tells him to beat the heck out of them. Like, he just tells him to. And for a guy his size, it's pretty rare, man. I've seen him even run outside track a couple of times as a true edge player, which is just very odd. Like, it's not going to be a thing that he's going to do in a high volume at the next level, but I've seen him work out from everything from a 1 all the way out to like a 6 or 7 at times on this defensive line. I think that he is good for multiple spots. I think he's a really gifted athlete. I would be surprised if at 6'3 and a half, 6'3 and a quarter, somewhere in that ballpark with probably 34-inch arms and over 300 pounds, if he doesn't run sub-5 in the 40-yard dash. Like, my guy can move. He's explosive. And you know what's crazy is the backfield production he has, which is actually very similar to Johnny Newton, by the way, like very similar to Jer'Zhan Newton. they don't really ask him to be a penetration style player that much. They ask him to hold the point and to handle down blocks a ton. If they switched him and Jer'Zhan and they were like, you know what, Keith, you're going to play more 3-tech than what you play right now, I think this kid would be almost a double-digit sack guy in a season. I really like Keith Randolph. He was close to being number 1 for me. They don't want to be too bullish. He's a top 100 player without question. I think he's going to be a top 50 player when all is said and done. Early second rounder, potential to go late in the first round. I love Keith Randolph, man. Keith Randolph Jr., fantastic football player for the University of Illinois.